Hello, everyone. I'm Amanda Benjamin.
I'm Paul Carganilla, and we welcome you to our mystifying show in which we explore mysteries of the unknown.
As they waited, they could see the creature walk up to the porch, peek into the house through the windows, Oh, there we are. Hi, everybody.
Like creepy
I
ghosts
know. Where is this?
hanging in
Oh,
the
you know.
corner for months and months that you don't hear from, popping back up again. Here we are. Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here.
Hang on a sec. We're getting I noticed this in our intro too. We're getting an echo, and I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Mm.
Ooh, it's echoing like 4 times. Um, Let me ask the audience. Well, let's ask the audience. Are you guys getting a continual echo? David just texted me, so I think that means yes.
Let me see if I have any. Speaking of creepers,
Do you have any windows open?
have any.
It does have a big delay, so it could be on your end. Oh no, Kelsey says they are. Wait,
Did we get it?
I think
we
so.
It was probably me.
All right, for podcast purposes, how about we do that again?
Do it.
All right, guys,
Wait,
we're gonna start
hang
over.
on.
Oh,
Let me open. Because otherwise I can't see the chat. So let me open one and then mute it.
oh yeah, good idea.
And then we'll start it over because this is live television. Hang on.
Ooh, yeah. Oh wait, what just changed? Oh, that's my fault. I'm on the wrong screen. No. Um. Wait. Okay. What's happening? Okay. Let me. Okay, Vaudience. Do you guys hear me talking? What's happening?
And how many times?
I know. I don't know. I think that this should be the right setting. So hopefully, okay. Also my okay. So everybody can still hear me? I hope somebody okay. David says yes, we can hear you now. No echo. Whew. That was a weird. Dang it. Oh no, not Audacity. What are we on? OBS. It's been a while, y'all. We're gonna try it again. Okay.
That's what you get for being so advanced.
I know, right? You try and make things cool and professional, and yeah. All right, so here we go. We're going to start again with our title card. Have fun.
To our mystifying show in which we explore mysteries.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amanda Benjamin.
I'm Paul Carganilla, and we welcome you to our mystifying show in which we explore mysteries of the unknown.
As they waited, they could see the creature walk up to the porch, peek into the house through the windows, and even pushed against the door. In this live stream and podcast, we'll tell tales of the paranormal and unsolved while mixing in a little fun and live music as well. Welcome to the Magical Mystery Hour. Join us tonight as we discuss poltergeists. Hi, hello everybody.
For anyone out there listening to the audio, that was a really creepy end of the video intro.
Wasn't it? I came across that little video. I was like, ooh.
And if you're listening to the audio, hello. And you should also check us out on the YouTubes, on the Audacity Network on YouTube. We do these live. It's a live stream, and sometimes we have to go back and start over. Not that you would have heard any of that, but if you want to, as we used to say in our intros and outros, see our faces as well, we are on the YouTubes. I'm Paul Carganilla.
And I'm Amanda Benjamin.
Here we are after after a little bit of a what wild life ride for on both sides.
Yeah.
We're back in the studio
Woo.
to tell more spooky tales.
Yeah. I don't know. Should we do like a little quick life update? What's happening?
Little share off. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. If anybody's a regular listener, you know that my kids are working actors and they're working on projects, and that takes us across the world for weeks and months at a time. And I don't want to make it sound that cool, like across the country,
I think it's pretty cool.
weeks and months at a time. I'm just not like we're not globe trotting. We're
Not
United
yet.
States.
Just saying.
Not yet.
Just saying.
But yeah, it's been a wild and blessed beginning of first half almost of 2025 now for our fam. And what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's been great here. Well, it started with, if you guys remember, for those who watch the show, back when we were doing the last podcast with Darcy, which was awesome. It won't be such a long gap, hopefully, once I get the podcast part up again. But when Darcy was on the air, where I had to push back the time because I was at an audition for a show I really want to do, and I got that, and that was the first, and that made my life busy. So I was doing Oklahoma, I was playing Ada Annie. It was great. It was traveling back and forth. It was, and like it's probably like a half an hour drive back away, each way, which isn't that bad. But then, we went out to Hollywood, and I was also working full time at the school, and I realized just how hard that was. It was killer. I was so tired. I couldn't do anything. Like, I just practice and go to work and come home and sleep and wake up and do some more and then go back to sleep. And it was rough. And so I was like, wow, okay, I don't know how to perform and do all this. And a new job opportunity fell into my lap. And I had to make a quick decision. I probably had, at most between realizing, okay, I can have this job, and having to start that new job. I think I had like 3 weeks to decide what I was doing and then move forward. And so it was a really quick thing. But I started a new job, which is great. More money, time at home a little bit. I get to work at home a day or two a week, which is really nice. So yeah.
You look fresh as a daisy.
Oh, good. Yeah, I actually am a lot more well rested. It's crazy, the difference. And I'm in a show right now as well. I got another show after Oklahoma, so I'm doing Hairspray right now, which is fun.
Congratulations. Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh, hi, Angelica.
Angelica in the chat says they miss you at your old job.
I miss it so. I always tell people, like, it was the perfect move for me. Like, because it helps me to, be able to act and sing and do this kind of thing. But, like, I miss those kids so much. I think I cried for the 2 weeks when I made my decision, because I had to give 2 weeks, and I couldn't decide. And finally I was like, no, I got to do this for me. But I cried pretty much for 2 weeks straight. It was really hard. So I miss all those kids too. Angelica has a child at the school too. I always want to say the names. I'm like, I shouldn't say the names. But has a child there too. So I miss all you guys. It's so sad. So tell them I say hi.
And yeah, she's up and ready for some spooky tales. Wow.
Oh yeah.
We landed on poltergeists because you had a story you wanted to tell.
I did. I found this interesting story because I always try to look for stories that have some kind of evidence to them, right? Like, because I hate when you go through a story, like sometimes I'll do all this research, I'm like, this sounds so cool, and then I kind of get into it, and then I go, oh, there's nothing to this, not a thing. I hate that, because while I love just telling spooky stories and just hearing spooky stories, it's such a letdown. We're like, this is definitely fake. So I found this one, and it is definitely, there's some evidence. If you want to believe, you'll be like, oh yeah, definitely. If you don't want to believe, you're like, oh no, that's, which is kind of my sweet spot, I think, because I like to appeal to both sides and kind of see where where our listeners land, because it could always go one way or the other.
And you always do such a great job at presenting both
Oh,
sides so well.
thanks. So yeah, so that's how I ended up. I was looking around at stories that has kind of physical evidence or some kind of evidence, and then this came up as the most well documented poltergeist story. So there's
Well,
even movies and documentaries based on it that I've never seen.
mine is also widely regarded as the most well-known poltergeist story and well documented. So hopefully
We're gonna have a well documented off.
we're we're gonna hopefully not tell you all the same story
Oh my
twice,
God, that would
because
be.
she's a much better writer than I am.
This
But
is a little quicker one, but we'll see.
so since we've done so many, and regular listeners of
Yeah.
the show know we always try and perform live music based on the tales that are being told.
Yeah.
And we've done so many ghost ones
God.
already. It's like, how we have to get so creative
I
in
know.
how am I
In the
going to tie
sock
this
trick.
into a ghost story? But
Yes.
when I was thinking about what to do, I was actually just scrolling through my repertoire, going, "What can I make a ghost make related to a ghost story?" And since we're doing poltergeists and they're noisy ghosts that you wish would just leave, you wish them well, but you wish they would leave. Um, I don't know if I've mentioned on this show before, but I used to love a show called The Ghost Whisperer, and
Oh
it was
yes.
the first few seasons of it.
Yeah.
And, the main point to the show was for Jennifer Love Hewitt's character to send the spirits into the light and send them through the veil to the other plane of existence, not airplane. Nobody wants to be on an airplane.
There
these
was an
days.
episode about an airplane though. And the only reason I know that is because it was on my reels. As it suggests, there was one with an airplane.
Yeah, an airplane crashed right
Yep.
outside the town where they lived, and she lost her spoiler alert. She lost her coworker and best friend in it, but she found her there.
Look at that.
If you know what I mean. So this is a song by Jimmy Eat World, and I know I've done it a bunch on, I think maybe live shows and Polython Live variety shows, but this is a little tune called "Hear You Me."
All right. I'm going to switch over to your. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Why? Hang on one second. They're just seeing our background right now because I didn't fix this view.
I'll do the thing they call vamping.
There we go. We got you. We got you.
There's no one in town, I know. You gave us some place to go. I never said thank you for that. Thought I might get one more chance. What would you think of me now? So lucky, so strong, so proud. I never said thank you for that. Now I'll never have a chance. May angels lead you in. Hear you, me, my friends. On sleepless roads, the sleepless go. May angels lead you in. So what would you think of me now? So lucky, so strong, so proud. I never said thank you for that. Now I'll never have a chance. May angels lead you in. Hear you, me, my friends. On sleepless sleepless roads the sleepless go. May angels lead you in. And if you were with me tonight, I'd sing to you just one more time. A song for a heart so big, God wouldn't let it live. May angels lead you in. Hear you, me, my friends, on sleepless roads the sleepless go. May angels lead you in. On sleepless roads the sleepless go. May angels lead you in.
All right, that was awesome. Yes.
A pretty ballad version of an exorcism.
Yeah. That was really cool. I like it.
No, it's a whole. It's different, but it's the same as hoping when you lose a loved one that they are welcomed on the wings of an angel. But also, if you are exorcising a demon, you're saying go toward the light, get out.
Right.
So give me the same thing but different.
Yes. Nice.
Have you seen? There's a guy who takes photos of in baseball when a player can hit. It's called a walk-off home run when they win the game with their last home run.
Okay.
There's a guy who takes, and I'll find some and I'll share them later for the YouTube, but he takes these videos and it's a meme. I'll find it during the story and I'll share it.
All right.
But can't wait to hear you tell the same story I picked.
I know, right? I'm still waiting.
I'm hoping it is.
I'm still waiting. We did that one time pick the same song. We haven't done the same story yet. Like, we need to be good. Again, once we get kind of on track, what we should do is send our story to Craig.
Oh, right.
So that way he can be like, oh no, guys.
Yeah.
Our songs and stories. See, then we
rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Well, I'm anxious to hear. So where does yours take place?
All right. Where does it take place? Oh, mine actually takes place across the pond.
Oh, mine too.
Woo! Oh no! Oh no!
Go on.
Maybe we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Go on.
Maybe I should tell you a little bit more. Wait. So mine also has, I will say, is the inspiration for a movie.
Uh-huh.
It's not promising. And a recent Apple documentary, which I haven't watched yet. So I'm interested.
Oh,
no way. Okay. It involves a family of, 5? But really two daughters.
All right.
Okay. Are we still nervous? Are you okay?
Daughters or two little girls in the house?
They're daughters. The daughters are the
They're
ones
sisters.
who are, yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
That was close.
Woof.
That was really close.
Okay. That is really scary.
Like poltergeist activity.
Oh, no. Well, because we're both said that they're the most documented, so I'm still nervous. We'll find out. In 1970s, I think.
Okay, mine's 1960. Okay. We're good.
We're good. We're so good. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Now everybody's been on the edge of their seats. Let's get started with my story. I'll tell you the title in a little bit. We'll get started first. So here we go. So recently, I saw a show at the Pantages Theater. And I have to tell you first off that this theater is just beautiful. And to me, beautiful doesn't even begin to describe it. It's just so cool. The Pantages is designed in an Egyptian and Assyro-Babylon way. Okay, there are statues lining, or that's the first part, I should say. The Pantages is designed in an Art Deco style, but there are Egyptian and Assyro-Babylonian statues lining dual 20-foot wide staircases in the lobby. There are star-shaped frosted glass chandeliers illuminating the area with just this exquisite golden hue. And of course, in the theater are classic red velvet seats. And when you look up at the ceiling, oh my God, breathtaking. It has the most intricate series of bronze and azure fretwork, sun ray effects that meet in the center where you can find frosted glass and bronze chandeliers. It's like something out of Gatsby's dreams. The moment that you set foot in this building, you're transported back in time, and I just love that feeling. So while I was watching the show, and I was really enjoying it, I was blown away by the special effects. It was like watching magic happen right before my eyes. And at one point, they made it feel like the entire room was just growing and shrinking right before your eyes. I gasped. What? I was just so in awe of what I saw, and I felt a little flutter in my heart, just a little bit. As I was in this state, I felt it. I felt something tug at my arm, like somebody trying to get my attention. And I was sitting on the end of the row, and I actually felt my arm move on the armrest and back in the aisle. Now, it wasn't something violent, but it was like someone was also really excited and just wanted to share what was happening. So I looked around, expecting to see like a little kid, something. But there was nobody there. Everybody was captivated with the show. Their eyes, their minds were all fixated on the magic they were seeing before them. So I looked around again, still nothing. So I didn't have an explanation. And during intermission, I remembered what had happened, and I decided to pull out my phone. I Googled ghosts in the Pantages Theater, and the following came up on laghosts.com. Alexander Pantages is the father of the Pantages Theater and always will be. He still keeps a watchful eye on the main floor like he used to do when he was still alive. His spirit is said to walk up and down the aisle during stage performances too. When the attendants open the door for him, he'll disappear. A chilling account from the 1990s speaks of a wardrobe lady who was escorted out by an unknown person. She was said to be the last to leave the theater, and since the lights were already turned off, she was having a hard time finding her way out. And all of a sudden, somebody took her gently by the elbow and guided her to the exit. Once outside, she turned to thank the person who helped her, but saw no one. She said she heard no footsteps, and it was too short of a time for a person to run off.
That's awesome.
Isn't that insane? Like, I felt somebody tugging on like my elbow, right in my arm.
Yeah.
And that's the story. I was like, no way.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but think in all my excitement that maybe he actually just kind of reached out for a second. They say that when your emotions are heightened, then you're more likely to find some kind of paranormal activity. So maybe I was just so excited by what I saw. Who knows? But if that's true, I hope that he could feel and share in some of that joy and deep appreciation for bringing the theater into existence.
Yeah, I think we've talked about on the show how, like, I remember when I was doing theater a lot, I would be like, you know, I whenever I pass, I'm going to become a theater ghost.
Yes.
Because we love the energy in the theater, the camaraderie, the teamwork, the family. Every time you go see a show, it kind of feels like you're joining a new family.
Yeah.
Every time you do a show, it's like you're joining a new family. And I was just like, I would love to be a theater and just watch the families come and go and mess with people too. But
like that.
if I built the Pantages and designed it,
Right.
like, I think even after I died, I'd want to stay there.
I know. I agree. I'll go there. I'll hang out with you. I'll go make a show. We'll put on little ghost story shows. Yeah. Well, this brings me to my topic for tonight. So I'm going to bring you a story about a poltergeist. But first, let's begin on the same page. A poltergeist is a type of ghost or spirit that can actually create a physical disturbance. So it's not like the kind of ghosts that would walk through walls or, you can't really see what they're doing. A poltergeist is something that can actually, say, pick something up and move it around or throw it. Those are poltergeists. These disturbances can include loud noises, objects, like I said, being moved or destroyed even, sometimes pinching, biting, hitting, tripping, which I also swear has happened to me before, but that's another story. People also claim that poltergeists can move or levitate objects like furniture, cutlery, or sometimes even knock on doors. They're also associated with foul smells and spontaneous fires and flickering lights.
Mm-hmm. Hey, just so you know, David, your husband, was in the chat saying he was the one that tugged on your sleeve. I know he was joking, but if he's the one biting you and pinching you, then let's talk off the air. I know some people to call.
Also, I like Daria's comment. It's Polly's Picnic Afterlife Edition. So let's make a plan.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's meet in the theater.
Yes.
Get it done. Can you imagine like improv games if you're a ghost? Like the possibilities are endless.
I like it. I'm excited.
It's a date. Let's do it.
All right. Oh man. This story begins in Enfield, London, in a small council house at 284 Green Street. Council housing, which is basically British government housing, was pretty common in the 1970s. They're small, cramped, and often not built to last. They weren't exactly the warmest place to raise 4 kids alone. But it was here that we find the Hodgson family. The mother, Peggy, had recently gone through a divorce, and she and her 4 children lived in a small council house as she got her family back on their feet. In August of 1977, Peggy was trying to get her children tucked into bed. She always gave them a few extra minutes to get their last burst of energy and excitement out before settling down. But as she was lying in her bed, she heard a lot of rustling and even stomping and running coming from the kids' room. Eventually, enough was enough. These kids had to settle down. Just as she got out of bed and was ready to lay down the law, one of her children ran into her room looking terrified. They said that there was a huge commotion, loud banging noises, unfamiliar footsteps, and it was not one of the kids. They had no idea who was behind it, and they were all scared. Peggy went running into the room and found her children huddled together, scared of the knocking that was coming from seemingly everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Scared to be alone in the house, Peggy called her neighbor over, who arrived right away. He was bewildered by the unexplained phenomenon and encouraged Peggy to call the police to investigate. When the police arrived, things got even more weird. They actually reported seeing a chair move across the floor all on its own. Trying to find a simple explanation, one of the officers found a marble and tested the floor for levelness. The marble stayed perfectly still. They did a few more tests, and they couldn't explain the knocking or the chair moving on its own, so they gave up and left. There's nothing more they could do. So I have a video, and I'm hoping that we don't get some, copyright slams. Well, I don't know. Should I play it or should I? I'm worried. I don't want it to get taken down. Maybe I'll put it in show notes when we do this on the thing. But there is a video. Let me just show you what the video is. I think you guys can see this. Let me just lower this really quick. So this is the video. Okay. It's because I forgot to mention, this is the basis of The Conjuring 2, this story. But of course they did little modifications. But these are the police officers, and it's the female officer that you see there that gives the interview while they do this. And you can tell The male just looks bewildered the whole time. I don't think his expression ever changes. Not once. It's weird. But that's the interview that they did. And but yeah, she just says, hey, like, we were there, we tried, we couldn't figure it out. I can't explain what I saw, but I saw it. So evidence number 1, police reporting, I literally saw a chair move across the room by itself.
Right.
I mean, that's a hard one to.
Too bad they didn't have body-worn cameras back then.
I know. So from here, the Hodgson's troubles only escalated. What started out as knocking and footsteps quickly escalated into ghostly whistling, more furniture and heavier furniture being hurled across the rooms. Dressers were knocked over by unseen hands. And sometimes the family would enter a room and their belongings were thrown wildly around as if somebody was looking for something in a hurry. And eventually, the case caught the eye of the Society for Psychical Research. 2 of its members, inventor turned paranormal investigator Maurice Grosse and writer Guy Lyon Playfair, were sent to investigate. Grosse and Playfair observed some disturbing events, such as, again, furniture just flipping over, objects flying across the room. They were hit in the face with Legos. Didn't know where they came from. They would, again, just kind of fly. Grosse definitely was hit in the head. And I believe it was Grosse who got hit in the head and Playfair just kind of laughed at him. It was like, it's a Lego, and then was hit himself.
I think I would rather get hit in the face by Legos than step on them.
Yes.
Or, sorry, it's plural. Lego.
And
then step on them.
They're not leggies.
No, the plural of Lego is Lego.
Yes.
Like emoji. Plural is emoji.
Yes.
Fun fact, the more you know.
Bum, 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 bum. So, let's see. The first thing that happened is that Graham Morris took pictures of Janet, their daughter. Now, so it's mostly Janet who is experiencing these events. She and her sister are the ones going through it. Again, Janet is the main kind of vessel for what's happening. And so Grosse took pictures of Janet levitating. Now, here's one piece of evidence where I go, yes, but I can't say for sure. Because when you look at these, again, I'm going to put some over here. And I'll see if I can get, let's see, a little bit bigger for you. You can see that it's a picture of a girl, but it is hard to say, is she levitating or is she jumping? I don't know what you guys think.
Like me in a hotel room jumping from bed to bed.
I know. But you can see her siblings over here. They look terrified. So it's hard to say.
She just happened to have a camera in the room.
Oh, this is the Grosse is Grosse and Playfair. One is a photographer and one is a writer. So they're documenting everything that's happening. Let's see if we have. So this happens a lot in these sequences.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Grosse is saying, yes, I am watching her levitate. These are my pictures. A lot of people also say that there's something interesting about the curtains. I never noticed. Let me see if there's another one. Yeah. I don't know. I've seen a lot of chatter go like, how do the curtains move like that? But I don't see anything in the curtains. So. Okay. Why is this not moving now? There we go.
It's a ghost.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks like she could be jumping backward, because I was thinking if she was jumping forward, her hair would be sweeping back. But if she's jumping backwards, it would be down the way it is.
Let's see. See if there's another one. This one looks a little... Oh, hold on. Let's see. Stop. Come back. This one here, to me, looks like she's moving forward with her hair. Oh, it's in the... It's in the text of this. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Her hair looks kind of normal there. But let me see this one.
And how many nights did they go over to take pictures? Like she's in
Oh,
all
they
these different
spent a
costumes
long
she did.
time there, like months, basically investigating this because there was so much happening. Yeah, so there's a lot of pictures, and we'll look at some more stuff. Okay, so not only did Gross and Playfair witness and document these events, but Peggy's brother came over, and he said that he witnessed Janet on top of the dresser with one leg seeming to float in the air as she was sleeping. I know. Weird, right?
It's hard to pretend that you're sleeping, isn't it?
I know.
And it's hard to be a ballerina or a dancer and gracefully move.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical of this.
I know. It's weird. And I keep going, man, if this is a hoax, it's a lot of people. Like, you have the police in on it, you have the investigators in on it because he's taking the pictures. You have, her brother in on it. It's hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah. So towards the end of 1977, things only got more terrifying. As if levitating children and objects being thrown across the room isn't terrifying enough. Gross had been recording conversations with the poltergeist to try and discern the root cause of the haunting. He would ask questions like, "Are you a man?" Knock once for yes, twice for no. And as he began to learn about the entity, he thought, I know it can communicate with me. I wonder if it can talk. So Gross asked Janet in, and he leaned in and said, "Say my full name." Then there were some indistinct mutterings from Janet. And then a name, but it wasn't the quite correct. And he said, "That's not my name. Try again." And then everything seemed to kind of come into clarity. And a voice that no 11-year-old girl should be able to make was produced out of thin air. So I'm gonna play the audio of that. I'll keep the video to myself. I'll tell you, it can be hard to understand. So if you don't get it, I will go over it with you. I'm gonna turn the volume up. Hopefully it's pretty loud. Let's see.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died. Just before you died and just after you died.
Days before I died, I went blind. Then I had an hemorrhage, and I fell asleep, and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
So I don't know how much you could understand of that.
She would have gotten slapped by my mom so fast. Out of her chair and across the room and just slapped across the face.
Right?
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Blood everywhere. She had a hemorrhage. She died in the corner chair downstairs.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. David asks, how do we know that it was not the interviewer making those noises? Actually, there is actual video footage of her making this voice. So I have seen that. You can look it up and stuff too, but yeah.
I was eating a donut and I didn't chew enough. And I choked on my jelly roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be you, Paul. That'll be...
Yeah.
Everly's gonna be your vessel for the first part. Nobody will believe her though, because she's such a good actress. They'll be like, no. Try again.
Right.
But anyways, so as you heard in the recording, the voice claimed to be Bill Wilkins. Actually, you probably didn't hear the name because I didn't want to let it play forever. But the voice claims to be Bill Wilkins, who died in his chair after going blind and suffering a hemorrhage. What's odd is that later Bill Wilkins' son actually confirmed that his dad had lived there in the same house as the Hodgsons, and that was indeed how he died. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, public records. But how would Janet have known that? Because it's not like in 1977 you could just hop on Google and say, okay, you know, public records, who lived here, what happened, how did this person die, right? It's a lot harder in the 1970s, especially for a girl. I should say a little girl of 11.
Right.
So, again, possible, but odd.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Now, let's also talk about the voice for a second, okay? Because some of these conversations would go on for hours. It's not just a little conversation. They had hours long conversation. And I don't know how many of you have ever tried to make your voice sound multiple octaves lower, deep and gravelly like that, but it hurts after a while. It is not good for you. After probably like, it depends on the person and their voice and how well you're doing it, but in pretty short time, probably within 10 to 20 minutes, you're going to start to really feel fatigue, and eventually your voice will just give out because the pain will be too much to continue. So how could she go on like that for hours with no damage and then just go back to her normal voice? It's not something that's easy.
Just ask Louis Armstrong. It's tiring, man.
Yeah, it really is. So again, something that's possible, but it's not, easily explainable. So from there, the hauntings basically continued in the same fashion. They did eventually slow down. And here's the thing. They slowed down when Janet left the house. Janet was admitted to a psychiatric hospital for a while. And she got some treatments, came back, and everything, again, slowed down and then eventually went back to normal. Now, there are recent interviews with the girls, and they say together, like, no, they still say this really happened to us. They admit, every once in a while do something to kind of play jokes on the investigators. They said every once in a while we would play a trick on them. They said only maybe like 1% to 2% of the things we did were jokes, but we, cross my heart and hope to die. This really did happen to us. And I think it's interesting that they admit that they did play jokes. They're like, we're kids. Man, we were like 11 years old. We were 13. That's what we would do.
So if there was anything that you weren't buying,
you can right now say,
if there's something we didn't pull off quite good enough, that was us just
that was the
around.
Joke.
that was us messing around.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I
for
swear,
reals.
cross my heart, was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. And some people have also said, well, a lot of people do this for money and attention. However, the Hodgsons did not make any money off of this, and they didn't seem to enjoy the attention. They tried to hide for the most part. They separated themselves from it for the most part. They didn't want anything from it. They just wanted it to stop. So it's an interesting, like I said, it's an interesting thing because just kind of depending on where you want to look and where you want to see, you can kind of make a story for yourself about what really happened.
Yeah.
So there are a few things, a few ideas about why these hauntings happen. Obviously, poltergeist is what most people will say. There's also the idea of psychokinesis. Okay, which is basically that Janet subconsciously generated this activity. Okay. Who knows? Like, it's, if somebody is psychic, if you believe in those things, somebody is psychic, you can basically call beings from the beyond the veil.
So I was waffling between the story I picked and a different story. And in both of the stories, this was a topic of conversation. Like, is this person conjuring it themselves from their subconscious, not even knowing they're doing it because they're going through stressful times? And I might have missed it. Was there anything crazy going on in her life at the time that would have?
Mostly that her parents were divorcing. And she had some other, as I said, like mental issues as well. So yeah, it was a stressful time. I mean, imagine a family of 5 in the 1970s, single mother, the father walks out, they don't have as much money because,
I mean, I'd walk out too if my kids were haunted.
Bye. I'll send help later.
I hope your new husband can deal with this because I'm out.
I was actually listening to another podcast and they were talking about this movie. Oh shoot, what was it called? I have to remember. But it's an avalanche happens to this family and they're vacationing somewhere. An avalanche happens and they're all outside and the mother runs for her kids to help them.
Yeah.
Dad runs inside.
Zach Wood's in that movie.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I thought it was
it's
a
Will Ferrell, Julian Dreyfus movie. I can't remember.
Wait, no. Unless that's a remake. Because I think this was a foreign film. But is there another one like that? An American film?
There is. That's in the trailer. And then she gets all mad at him.
Yeah.
And causing drama. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because the one they were talking about was a foreign film. So they must have made an American
Oh, it must
one.
have been an American version of a foreign film.
Oh, I want to see it now. I want to see the other one, but now I want to see that one.
Yeah. I wanna see
Zach Woods.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. There's also the idea that it is a residual haunting. Of course, if you guys know what that is, residual hauntings are basically things that happen before that kind of cycle through. It's not intelligent. It's just some kind of energy that repeats and repeats and repeats. Of course. Oh, good.
I don't think I've ever heard of someone being levitated during a residual haunting.
I agree. I mean, like, it could have started as a residual haunting and then it developed, because that has also happened in haunting stories, is that it starts as one thing and then, again, that kind of energy attracts more. And then if you believe in demons and poltergeists and things, sometimes they can take on the form of something else. And then there is the idea, speaking of demons, demonic mimicry. Just what it sounds. A demon basically imitates the voice appearance of a person, okay, to instill some kind of fear in a person, which they say the poltergeists feed off of.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So those are some of the haunting ideas.
Side note.
Yeah.
Downhill, starring Will Ferrell and Juliette Louis-Dreyfus, is a remake of the 2014 Swedish film Force Majeure.
Force Majeure. Ah, yes, that's
There
the
it
one.
is.
Yes. So now I want to see both.
Yeah. Show.
All right. So, we already talked about, I was going to say a couple things from the side of the skeptics, because I love both sides. Obviously, most of the skeptics are saying that Janet and Margaret were faking the whole time. They were caught, again, playing some of those pranks, like bending spoons. They're doing silly voices or whatever, saying, I'm going to, say this. And they were obvious when they were faking. But some people say that's all it was, childish pranks. And like I said, she said, oh, yeah, Janet was quoted saying, oh, yeah, once or twice, just to see if Mr. Gross and Mr. Playfair would catch us. And they always did. Again, she admitted it.
Those were the times we were joking.
Yes.
Those ones. Yeah.
I know. So again, I give props for admitting that, because you would think that if you were trying to, really sell this story, you would say, no, of course we never faked it. And then, of course, you can kind of poke holes in some of the evidence. Like I said, the pictures, it's hard to tell, right? There are a lot of video recordings that you can watch of this haunting, but I did watch some of them and I was like, what? They're jumpy, they're grainy, like they're cut in places. And I'm like, that was just a cut. Like, this moved one thing from the other. So a lot of the video footage is not great. So I don't know. Again, we have obviously the age and psychological state of Janet, which we talked about. So it could have been stress-seeking, attention-seeking behavior, right? They'd had the emotional trauma. And Janet did at one point say that she had felt kind of used by all of this. So, again, not saying that it was fake, but that she felt like people used her, like, the writers and the photographer and She just kind of, again, just wanted it all to go away.
Yeah.
Now, some people say that the possessed voice can be imitated. I don't know. I've not seen that. The closest thing I can see is there's a video that I found is a video of a little girl who does the lion's roar. It's pretty cute. But again, my thing with that is that if you're doing it for hours at a time, that's tough. Some people do say there's something called a false vocal fold phonation, which I haven't looked too far into. But if she could figure out how to do that, it's kind of like ventriloquism. It's using your voice, but not. So it's possible.
I had a buddy, rest his soul. I miss him very much. He was one of my besties, best buds that I made while working at Disneyland. He was in the Disneyland, the Bootstrapper Pirate Band, and he played a character called Smitty, and he was like a Broadway trained vocalist, and he could do this voice all day long. And he was a bass. He was a 40-year-old man, not a 11-year-old girl or 10-year-old girl. But he said, he tried to explain to me how to make it sound like that, and it wouldn't wreck his vocal cords.
Right.
But like there was some sort of technique that he used 4 days a week, 8 hours a day, to get that really graspy kind of voice. I don't know. I wonder if it could have been maybe the same kind of thing.
Entirely possible. The only thing I'll say to that is that was somebody who was highly trained,
True.
And this is an 11-year-old girl. It's tough. That's the one thing that I'm always like, ooh, creeps me out. I don't know. Everything else I can kind of take or leave, but that's the one thing that I go, ooh. They even did tests. I mentioned earlier, they did tests where she was holding water in her mouth and the voice could still come out. I know. Weird. But some people, again, they'll say, no, the tests were not quite done right. Could have been faked. I don't know. Again, ventriloquism maybe somehow, because ventriloquists do that. But it's hard to say. And then it is tough because, not a very small amount of people saw these things. So it's hard to say. It's not like, people are coming in and out and it was witnessed by 50 people. We have the two police, the two investigators, the neighbor, his son came by as well, and her brother. So about 7 people outside the family who saw what was happening. So again, entirely possible to be faked, but still 7 people. And the police is the one that gets me.
Yeah.
The police.
Yeah, the outside observer who just has nothing in it for them.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then of course, Oh, we're going to also, Maurice Gross, again, the one who was recording everything and taking pictures, was very emotionally invested in the case because he had recently had a daughter who had passed. And her name also happened to be Janet. So some people say that he was looking for things beyond what were actually in front of him due to his emotional investment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gross is cited as saying if they were faking it, they were doing a damn good job of it. And then
some people are really naturally really good at stuff.
It's true. It is true.
Everyone's got their gift, right? For gifts.
These girls just maybe happen to be really good at big time pranks.
Yeah. Future grifters.
Yes. Who knows? And then, of course, they talk about how magicians and illusionists can do these kind of things, right? There could be hidden wires, a sleight of hand, misdirection. Anything could have been staged, if that's what you want to believe. So,
Sure.
yeah. So, I, of course, would love to hear what everybody thinks, right? Do you think it's just a trick played by some young girls? Or was there something beyond our comprehension going on?
Do you know if... Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
was
go
that a
ahead. No, go
rhetorical
for it.
question? You said it kind of faded away. Do you happen to know if at any point that family moved out and the new family moved in, and if they
Oh no,
experienced
I never
anything?
heard anything about that after. I don't know how long, because again, these houses were not the best of houses, so I don't know how long it was before it was either knocked down or renovated. But I have not heard of anybody else talking about this same address, but it's something to look into. So, yeah.
It's interesting. I always wonder, like, in cases like this, as I don't know, as hard as it is to believe,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where would these girls have gotten the idea to do this originally? Like,
Right?
where they do they have friends at school talking about, oh my gosh, so my uncle, he got possessed one day and started talking like this. Like, I don't know, like, how does
know.
a little kid go, oh, I'm gonna act like someone else's spirit is in me and it's gonna go like this?
Yeah.
I had an aneurysm. Like,
I know. And again, if you had to look up who lived there before, what was their name? How did they die? When did they die? You know, what did they sound like? You know what I mean? It's a lot of work, again, for an 11-year-old and maybe a 13-year-old to go through for a prank. And again, if it's fake,
why?
yeah, it's not like, you know, they were selling their story everywhere. It wasn't, again, eventually, just recently, The Conjuring made this. I didn't mention because they're such a controversial and mostly disproven figure, but the Warrens did go as well into the site. But again, they're a whole problematic thing, but they went there as well. And that's how it ended up becoming a Conjuring movie, not because the family was trying to sell it, is only because the Warrens mentioned it and they had very, very little to do with it. So again, it's not that they were trying to go out and sell their story. But yeah, so
Pretty wild.
yeah. Well, to wrap up my story, when I was at the Pantages, I felt something that wasn't there, but maybe it really was. And the Hodgson family, well, their story was shaped by what they believed. They know that they heard knocking and voices. They saw things fly across the room and they felt fear. So when you consider this story and many others, much of the supernatural comes down to how we perceive the world around us. Our own senses can betray us. Or maybe, just maybe, they can open us up to something more. The mystery endures because we are forever searching for something beyond the veil. And this, too, shall remain a magical mystery. And there we go. That's the
Amanda Benjamin.
Enfield Poltergeist.
And that is so interesting. And there are a lot of similarities in this will be fun. We can do some compare contrast work with my story from the 1960, I believe.
Yeah, a precursor maybe. It's
Oh,
Bill
yeah,
Wilkins.
maybe this is where they got the idea. Those crafty kids. Scooby, you want some snacks? I want to share. I found. Oh, I can't share. Boo.
What?
I sent a request.
Oh wait,
to the
I
host.
can allow you to share. There we go.
That's so nice of you.
Oh, you like that story, David? Good. I always like when David likes the story because he's like the biggest skeptic ever. So when he enjoys it, I'm always like, yeah, I try to present both sides. So I always
Here's
think that's
the meme that I found. And for those of you listening to the audio version, it says somebody posted. It says, I recently read about a man who collects pictures of hitters who hit walk-off home runs. He said that the reason he did this is because this is how he views us entering heaven. I love that. If you can picture all your teammates waiting for you behind the plate, just so proud of you and joyful and thrilled, and you're thrilled with yourself, and you're running toward them, and they're gonna, they're just gonna swallow you up in big hugs, and love that.
Yeah, me too. Let me get your picture readjusted over here. Oh, wait. There
I
you go.
got rid of it.
Oh, no. Your video picture.
Oh, gotcha.
There we go.
But let's give it up one more time for Amanda Benjamin and her amazing storytelling.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's
Yes.
a good. Like I said, it's so fascinating because there's so much evidence. And again, as I said at the end, it's really about the way that you perceive things as to what you're going to get out of it.
Are you a Scully or a Mulder?
I always say that. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just both. But when I saw the poster recently because I haven't watched X-Files in so long, but I saw the poster. It was like, I want to believe. And I was like, yes, just show me. I mean,
Yeah.
not that like, I always say, I always have all these really weird experiences. And I'm like, yeah, that's a ghost. And then I'm like, where's the proof? And I'm like, but I had it. But where's the proof? But I had it.
It's my own experience.
I know, right? I just want somebody else to experience it too. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not, again, it's not my senses or what I think is happening. Like, it's real because somebody else experienced it with me. That's what I want.
Yeah,
But
the
maybe
shared
it-
experiences.
Maybe it won't. Maybe it's like just a unique me thing.
Just a gift. It's just a gift for you.
Yeah, a little nice gift. I think it runs in my family. If you remember our first, not you, but if everybody else remembers our first episode where I like did the highlights of like the ghost stories of my family. I think it runs in the family.
And if you don't remember that, go back and give it a
That was a
listen.
good one.
Yeah.
Our first ghost. I don't know if it was episode 1 or if it was our first ghost story show. I don't remember.
No, episode 1 was conspiracies.
Conspiracy.
I think it might have been episode 2.
Yeah, it was one of the
It
early
was an
ones.
early one.
Go watch it.
We digest.
All
All right. Well, before we dig into my poltergeisty tale, it is, of course, Amanda's turn to share a little music.
It is. I'm
So
deciding if I want to I have a desk now that moves up and down. So I might want to
Fancy.
sit. I know, but I have to readjust my camera. So you can keep talking and I'll try to get this adjusted.
All right. She's working from home now, so she gets the stand-up desk. Love that. I got spoiled with the stand-up desk when I started as a dispatcher in the 911 Emergency Communications Center. And then when I got my promotion and I got an office and stuff, and I didn't have my stand-up desk anymore. And I was so bummed, but I was able to make the case with some folks in my department that, you know what, the city really needs to be helping people, employees, make healthy choices and give us healthy options while we're sitting in an office all day. And I got a couple of supportive advocates alongside me, and we forced some change to where if somebody wanted a stand-up desk, they could get one.
Hey, that's great.
And I should get one here for this room. I really should. I spend probably 80% of my day standing at work.
Right.
And I think it's great.
Yeah.
Who wants to just sit around all day?
It's true.
Yeah. But also playing guitar is harder standing up, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people do it, and I'm like, how?
How? All I ever do is play sitting down. Now I have to strap this to my chest
I know.
and play a different way.
I know.
Come on now.
Agreed. All right. I think I've got my desk adjusted. Let me see. I'm going to set this to the other. Hold on. I don't know. The other thing that's cool with this is you can actually set like a preset, which I had done and then accidentally deleted. The heights. I was like, oh, well darn.
Oh, you can set them in the standing desk.
Yeah. So you just, I have like 2 different settings and.
I thought you were talking about OBS. I was like,
Oh, well, yeah, you can do all kinds of cool stuff there.
presets.
Yes.
Lucky.
Okay, one more little. Ugh.
I've only been saying for 3.5 years that I'm going to learn OBS someday.
Someday.
And I'm still zooming everything.
It's fine. Okay, let's.
That's
see.
what we're going for. We're going for
We're
fine.
going for fine. We said that when we were off there. It's fine.
We used to say before that it went through all the facelift, Disney California Adventure, where good enough is.
That's great.
Thanks. But then it got like really good, and we had to stop saying that. Well, we didn't have to stop.
You'd have to, but you did.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Unmuting the guitar. I'm going to lower my voice mic a little bit because it gets loud when I'm singing.
Now, I know we try and do everything to shoehorn a song into a ghost category these days.
It's
but,
true.
What song did you pick and why?
Why? You know what? I was like, I'll get close. I was trying to figure. I actually had a really hard time trying to figure out a song, and I was like, like I again did a little Google, and I was like, some like kind of paranormal, magic-y songs, and then this one came up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's great. I'm gonna try anyways. There's a couple chords in here that I have not really done before tonight. That's being one of them.
Spread your wings, try new things.
Exactly. I haven't been playing guitar. When I got too busy, I didn't play guitar. So I'm a little rusty, but I'm gonna try it. This song came up. Creedence Clearwater Revival. I don't think the first and definitely not the last. Creedence Clearwater Revival did a cover of the song, and I was like, that's awesome. So the song is I Put a Spell on You, right?
Love it.
We all know it from Hocus Pocus around here.
Right. But that's not what it's from.
But no, that's just another cover. So this is more along the lines of the Creedence Clearwater Revival, which is also great. I wish that I was somebody who could do guitar solos, but I'm not. I actually did a fun thing in the like when I was just practicing, and I was like singing the guitar solo, and I was like, okay, so if I was good, I could do it someday.
That's what I tell myself every day about several different things.
Yes, I can sing a guitar solo, but not play it. So I had to skip. There's like a 2-minute guitar solo in the song. So I'm gonna skip through that. But yeah, I decided to do this song because, it just, again, took over Janet. Especially this song makes me think of I Put a Spell on You, like when she would talk and she would become somebody else. It's like she was under some kind of spell. So, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, playing live, singing guitar live. Amanda Benjamin.
All right, here we go. Let's give it a try. Oh, yeah. Let me also put my video on me so you guys can see. Let's see. All right, here I am. Let's give it a try. One more. Oh, so close, so close. Okay, now we're ready. I put a spell on you because you're mine. You better stop the things that you do. I ain't lying. Take none of your fooling around. I ain't gonna take none of your putting me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine. I put a spell on you to stop the things that you're doing. I ain't lying. I ain't gonna take none of your fooling around. I ain't gonna take none of your putting me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine. I put a spell on you because you're mine. All right, let's reset.
Amanda Benjamin.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, is that a brace on your hand?
It is. Okay, so my friend recommended this because one of the reasons I initially, even before I got super busy, was just playing guitar causes me so much pain, a lot of pain in my hands, like this part of my hand right here, and then right where this brace is, kills. Like when I first learned to play guitar and I was just playing all the time, I couldn't even pick up a water bottle anymore. Like I would get nerve pain shooting off. It was terrible. And so my friend, who is like me and extra bendy, said, same thing happens to me. So she recommended this brace to keep you basically from hyper bending when you're doing bar chords. So it keeps you from doing that extra push. And so it's supposed to help that. And I haven't played enough to find out if it does. But it's supposed to help you so you don't hurt yourself when you're doing bar chords.
Interesting.
So I don't know if it works. I haven't done enough, but there is one. So
Yeah, great
so
job.
I will give it a try.
Benjamin.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to kind of get back to it with those different new chords.
Yeah,
All right.
great job.
Thank you.
Whale. Obviously.
And now that I'm sitting,
Perfect.
it's perfect because it's time for your story.
You get to cruise.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I just
so-
minimized you by accident. No. Hold on. Zoom. There you are. Back
Most
to.
people minimize me on purpose.
Oh, no, this is totally. I meant to grab this little window away and do that. Okay. You're back.
And we're back. I originally thought when you said you wanted to do poltergeist stuff, I immediately thought of doing something related to the movie The Poltergeist.
Yes.
And I'm going to put that on a shelf for maybe another week if I get the opportunity,
Yeah.
because I learned a lot of cool stuff about the story that inspired the movie The Poltergeist. And it was funny that you did the story that inspired The Conjuring. But and also the house that they filmed the exteriors for that is kind of like, I think it's in your neighborhood.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Pretty close to where you live.
Yeah.
But in the process of listening to stories about the story that inspired The Poltergeist, I heard about this tale, and it is one of the most documented stories from across the pond of poltergeist experience.
Yes.
And it happens about 300 or so miles north of where your story took place,
Ooh.
but in Scotland.
Ooh, okay.
I'm so bad at Scottish accents. So
Oh, I know.
Won't even try.
It's hard.
But so this one is really interesting because we always talk here on Magical Mystery Hour about shared experiences. People who, in either large groups or small groups of strangers, experience something wild together that they can't explain, but since they all were together when it happened, they know it happened. And there's just such a dramatic difference between experiencing something with a group and doing it with yourself and saying, listen to what happened to me. You'll never believe this. I was in bed and I floated. I levitated. And this is crazy. Listen. So I was just like floating around my room. And this photographer was there taking pictures of me. No, I digest. But obviously, I don't need to convince you that shared experiences are super special phenomena in the paranormal realm. But so this one had kind of a good array of peers, well-respected strangers, all documenting the same kind of stuff. And it happened, I think I mentioned a little earlier, in the year 1960. And it all centered around a gal going through something. She was little 11-year-old Virginia Campbell, originally from the Donegal area in Ireland, which is beautiful. If anybody's planning a trip to Ireland, be sure to go to Donegal.
She
wish. Lived there with her parents and her dog, Bodie, I believe was his name. Toby was his name. And her dog was like her best friend. She also had another really good best girlfriend there. And she actually had a bunch of brothers and sisters, but they were all much older and had moved out. And so she lived on the farm, the family farm, with her parents until they hit tough times. And when she turned 11, they said, we got to sell the farm. So Dad and Toby stayed behind while Dad tried to sell the farm, and Mom, Anne was her name, and little Virginia moved to Scotland, moved in with one of Virginia's, I think it was Virginia's oldest brother and his wife and their kids. They had a daughter, Margaret, that was Virginia's age, but was actually her niece.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
And her little brother, who is a couple years younger. And so now she's uprooted from her family home, her best friends, her dog, her dad, and kind of shoehorned, speaking of shoehorning, into her brother's home with her niece and nephew who are around her age. And pretty much the first night, I believe, that they got there, and this is in the, oh, I never even told you. So it's in Scotland in a town called Sauchie. It's spelled Sauchie, Sauchie, Scotland, on a road called Park Crescent, which if you, after listening to this, want any more information about this story, there is a wealth of it. There is so much that when I started actually doing any sort of research on this story, so much came up that I was like, how have I never heard this before? And it is so well documented in books and everything. The most recent thing that a lot of people point to, I'll share here, is a book by a fella by the name of Malcolm Robinson. He actually lived in, oh, is it going to mess you up if I share pictures?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
You're good.
He is from the same area, and he has a relative, I think an aunt, that was in Virginia's class at school. And we'll talk about stuff that happened in class. But he's done a lot of research, and they're making a documentary about this that's coming out soon. And I was like,
Ooh.
That's why I thought when you said they're making a documentary, I was
Yeah.
like,
It's interesting. That's both. Okay, so far we have girls who are 11. Families going through
some
stuff.
stuff.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Okay.
So I believe it's her first night there, and if it's not, it's early enough. Actually, let me show you so you can see Virginia in not just your mind's eye, but this is a picture of Virginia, and that's her at 11. So that's about what she looked like when she went through all this.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart goes out to this girl when you hear all the things she experienced.
Aww.
It's like, oh my gosh. I'll show you one more picture before I get into it. This is the house in Saki, Scotland. I said I wouldn't do the accent.
Okay, yeah.
And so now it's brother's wife, Virginia, brother's 2 kids, and mom living in this house and waiting for dad. Hopefully sometime soon dad will sell the farm and then come join them and they can find a place to go live. But missing her friends, missing her dog, but excited to be there. She actually was given the option to sleep in or have her own bedroom. It was this small room at the end of the hall that the family had said, you can either sleep in here. She was kind of creeped out by it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can sleep in Margaret's room with Margaret. It's big enough we have 2 beds in there. And she selected, and Margaret encouraged, it wasn't begrudgingly, but to sleep with Margaret in her room.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 girls were in bed, and they're family. They see each other at the holidays, and they're catching up. They're talking. They're giggling. And they suddenly hear outside the closed door, like angry footsteps walking toward the room, like they were in trouble, like they did something wrong, and dad's or uncle's about to bust open the door. Not uncle, but brother's about to bust open the door and yell at him for being up so late. But the footsteps stop right outside the door, and the girls listen, waiting for the door to open.
Waiting for that punishment.
Nothing happens. So they're like, okay, I think we're good. Then they hear someone knocking on the wall behind them. And it's not a connected house. It's just one house. I mean, standalone house.
So it's coming like from the outside?
Yeah, from that side. Where their headboards, it's the wall that their headboards of their beds are up against.
Right. So I'm saying that's like outside the house, or is that the inside? Like somebody was inside knocking, or is it on the wall to the outside?
Like an inside knocking, but on that wall. Behind them, opposite the door in the room.
Okay.
So now they're thoroughly freaked out, sitting in silence, and they start to hear what sounds like someone bouncing a heavy medicine ball in the floor in the middle of the room. Boom. First they're just like, boom. Boom. Till finally they just jump out of bed. Her brother and his wife are watching TV or listening to the radio or something downstairs in the main room. So they're running down the stairs, and as they do, they describe that boom, 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 following them down the hall, down the stairs, and they run into the living room screaming. And brother jumps up out of his chair, and he's like, what? And they hug. They both hold him. It's Margaret's dad, and I'll call him brother because he's Virginia's brother, oldest brother. And they're screaming, they're talking over each other, and all the adults are freaked out. They're like, what is going on? And they tell him, something's in our room, and making lots of noises and thumping and knocking. And he's just like, okay, you guys just got spooked by something. We got to get you back to bed. It's getting late. You have school tomorrow. It's your first day of school tomorrow, Virginia, here in town. And so he takes them back up, does the under the bed checks, does the in the closet checks. See, there's nothing here. You guys are fine. You're just imagining something. Just get back to sleep. So he gets them back down and leaves the room. closes the door. As soon as he closes the door, thump,
Ooh.
inside the room, and they scream again. So he thinks they're messing around.
Right.
He opens the door. They're in bed, just looking terrified. And by this time, the other two ladies who were living there, his wife and then Virginia's mom, come into the room, and it's just thump, thump, thump in the middle of the room. And then they describe it as moving to the walls.
Okay.
So now the walls are thumping, and then eventually it just goes to and stays on Virginia's headboard. And the headboard is just thumping. And he's like, there's gotta be some explanation for this. So he tells Virginia, move to the end of the bed. She's sitting in the middle of the bed at this point. She moves to the end of the bed, the far end of the bed, and he goes over, and the headboard's just starts vibrating.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, and it's like rattling against the wall. So he puts his hand on it and to try and just see if some pressure will make it stop. It doesn't. So he pulls the bed away from the wall so it's not at least rattling against the wall. And he sits there and watches it as it keeps vibrating. And he's like, Virginia, just lay down and try to go to sleep.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I would have been like,
Can't you,
sleep on the couch
that's what I'm saying.
downstairs.
Just, can I
I'm
leave
calling a
this
priest.
room? Oh, no.
Right?
I would not
So-
stay there. Was she good? She stayed?
They ended up, well, they sat and they watched, and it vibrated for a while, and then it finally stopped. And after it stopped, they said, okay, we're going to go sleep in different rooms. So
Okay,
I think
thank
Virginia ended up sleeping in the room she originally was supposed to, and sister or her cousin slept with her brother. And
Okay.
so things settled down. Everyone got to bed, but it was late and everyone was pretty rattled. So the next day, they decided to keep Virginia home from school just because it seemed like
Yeah.
she had a
Who
rough
could
night.
sleep?
It probably wasn't the best day for her first day at a new school after a night like that. So they kept her home. Everything seemed quiet-ish. And then at the end of the night, they'd had dinner. The whole family was in the main living room watching TV. And I guess across the pond, they call it a sideboard. And I was like, what's a sideboard?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I had to Google it. But it's like what would we call it? A buffet? Like a small cabinet along the wall.
Oh, okay.
Like you can store
Yeah.
stuff in it. And
Like we have kind of like a bench like that. It's like under the window, and you can
Yeah.
sit on it, but it opens in the storage, something like that. Maybe I'm trying to think of what you even call that, like a window seat, but I don't know. Okay, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. We call it a buffet, I
Probably.
think, or Jamie refers to. I
Oh,
don't know
well,
what to call for
I
sure.
believe Jamie. Jamie's very well versed on that kind of thing, so we'll call it a buffet.
So they are all sitting enjoying a program together on the telly, or whatever they call it in Scotland. And
Was it a program of poems?
poetry? Program of poetry. Well, as they're all sitting there, they start to hear another rattle. And they all start to look around, and they realize that this sideboard on the side of the room where Virginia was sitting closest to, and she's sitting on the floor, it's vibrating, and then it physically slides about 6 inches across the floor in Virginia's direction, and everyone's just staring at it, trying to wrap their brains around what they're seeing.
Right.
And then this becomes a common theme, which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It goes right back to where it was and stops vibrating.
Stop.
And everyone's just like, okay, that was weird.
Uh-huh.
Then the thumping
Ugh.
again, all over but loud and all over the walls, the ceilings, the house. It was so loud that the neighbors came over and said, "What is going on here? What is all this noise?" And the neighbors now are like, What is happening? What is your house doing? What is
Right.
this?"
Okay.
And mom and brother's like, I'm calling our local religious guy, priest. I don't know if there's like the house is, when I say quiet, I mean like no more thumping,
Right.
but it's full of neighbors. Like everyone's just there, like telling him, this is crazy. This house is like alive. There's pounding, there's thumping. And they tell him about the night before. And by this time, the girls are back up in that room.
Uh-huh.
But they're not alone. Like the neighbors' kids are in there too.
Okay.
And they're all just kind of like freaked out.
So all of these neighbors heard this stuff too?
Yeah.
Oh, like they were there when it happened. I mean,
They were there when it happened.
okay.
So the pastor, Mr. Lund, goes in and starts talking to the kids, says, tell me in your words what happened. And as he's asking, the headboard starts thumping. And the pastor's like, okay, so this is what this is what was happening.
This is it.
And they're like, yeah, but it was like all over the house. Right now it's only in the headboard. And so the pastor's like trying to debunk it. He puts his hand on it. He feels the thumping, and he describes it as it felt like it was thumping from within. It wasn't like being hit. It was like the vibrations and the thumping were emanating from inside the headboard.
Yikes.
And so he's like, all right, Virginia, get off the bed. Virginia gets off the bed, and it's still going. And while he's just kind of looking at it and trying to figure it out, one of the neighbor kids gets his attention and points in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
There's this linen chest, like a big long box that they would keep their sheets in and stuff, in the corner by the door. It lifts up. Well, it starts to like rock.
Oh.
And then it comes up, they said, off the floor, moves about 1.5 feet toward where the pastor was,
Mm-hmm.
goes back and sets back down. And everyone in the room, like everyone who was there, saw this thing lift up off the floor,
Okay.
move, and then go back and sit down.
Yikes.
And so the pastor, trying to ease the tensions, says, for whatever reason, nothing to worry about, kids. That's just Virginia's boyfriend trying to protect her.
What?
The headboard starts going thump, 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 thump. Virginia's like, dude, this is, I'm out. So she leaves the room.
That's unbelievable. Like
I know.
I'm still caught up on this. Like she's 11, right?
Yeah.
What is this pastor thinking?
So she leaves the room, and then her cousin, her niece Margaret, that's her age, is still in the room, and the pastor says, "I want to try something. Margaret, you get in that bed." And so Margaret's like, "Oh, dude, come on."
Why
So
me? You get in that bed.
Right. She goes and gets in the bed, and everything stops.
Okay.
And so it's like, that's weird. So that was it for that night, and everybody tried to calm down, goes back to sleep. The pastor's like, yo, I'm going to come back tomorrow night if that's cool. And the family's like, yes, please do. And he's like, I might bring some friends with me if that's cool. And the family's like, yeah, dude, that's cool.
This is a teaching haunted house.
Right? Let's all learn about demonic possessions together. But so the next day, for whatever reason, I don't know. A lot of times, like when you hear the story so many times, there's inconsistencies with timelines. Some people will say, well, it was a week later, or it was a month later. But so eventually they decide, you know what, let's try sending Virginia to school and see how that goes. And so Virginia goes to school, and I have a picture of the schoolhouse if you'd like to share it. Just a quaint little small town in Scotland schoolhouse.
Okay, yeah.
And she's settling in with her new peers and her new teacher, Miss Margaret Stewart, who, is an adult. And the class, I guess, the class size was about 40 kids.
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess they had real big classes
I guess so.
back then in the 60s in Scotland. But the first thing happens when the kids are assigned an essay. They have a certain amount of time to write an essay. So the kids are all frantically scratching away on their papers. And the teacher is just kind of monitoring, as teachers do. And she looks over and she sees the only student not writing is Virginia. She's actually sitting with her arms on her desk like this.
Okay.
And these are the desks. I had some in elementary school, and I was talking to somebody about it, and they were like, what? Explain that to me. So it's a flap. It's like a surface with a hinge.
Okay.
And you could store stuff in.
Oh, yeah, because I had both. Like, some of them were fixed, and you only could, like, get into the cubby. But I've seen ones, and I probably had some, too, and the top table part lifts up, right? So you can get into the desk.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm not crazy.
No.
Good.
I had both.
I was like, we had them here in California.
Yeah.
They were like, no, dude. And I was
Yeah.
like,
No, absolutely.
come on. All right. So she's got her arms on her desk, and she's kind of like,
Oh, no, I
looks
see where
like
this
the
is going.
teacher's like, she's, what are you doing? Virginia, what are you doing? And Virginia says, I'm sorry, ma'am. My desk is doing something funny. And she thought Virginia was like messing around. And she's like, no, your desk is doing something funny? You trying to be funny? Knock it off. And she's like, I don't think I should, ma'am. And the teacher says, Virginia, take your hands off your desk. And she's like, are you sure you want me to do that? And the teacher says, yes, do it right now or you're going to be in trouble. So Virginia takes her hands off her desk, and the desk flaps, goes, boom!
That was a good sound effect.
Boom! Just lifts up and shuts 3 times. And all the kids in the class just scream, like, go nuts. And the teacher's like, what in God's name? She gets up and she goes over. She's like, what is in your desk?
Right.
So she opens her desk, and there's books, pencils, nothing that shouldn't be there. And she said, how did you do that? And Virginia said, I didn't do that. I'm not doing this. And this becomes a theme where people start blaming Virginia, and Virginia's just like, please believe me, I'm not doing it. So Virginia starts crying, and the teacher's like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to accuse you. Like, but what is going on? And Virginia's like, I don't know. And so I think the teacher goes to lunch. The kids go to lunch. The teacher tells the principal what happened. And the principal said, I heard some crazy stuff is going on in that girl's house.
Half the town was there.
Yeah. So we don't know what's going on, but if you and your students can please just support her as much as you can and, show her love, we don't know what's going on in that house.
Right.
And so the teacher's like, okay, all right. So I guess it's a thing. Word is out. So after lunch, everything's kind of settled down. Everyone's kind of forgot about it. And the girl that sits in the desk behind Virginia has a library book she needs to return. So she tells the teacher, hey, I've got this book. Can I take it back to the library? Teacher says yes. So she gets up. She leaves. As she leaves, the teacher's eyes go back to the Virginia's seat and sees the desk behind Virginia now, where the girl was sitting, starts to lift off the floor. And all the kids turn around and see this desk come like 2 feet off the ground and then settle back where it was.
Wow.
And the kids are just looking at each other like, and Virginia's just like, I don't know. So at some point, the kids were all just so sweet, and they were like, whatever you need, dude, we want to help you out because something's wrong with you. Or something's following you. And what I love about this story, and this all like happened, like this, it's part of the town's history. It's in articles, it's in diaries, it's in like this work that this book that I shared at the beginning, he put together. It's this shared account, and it's not just the family, it's the town.
It's the whole town. That's incredible.
Wild. So that night she goes home, and the Pastor Lund comes back with 3 other adult men, and one is the local town physician, Dr. Nesbitt. He's heard about what's going on, and he wants to know if it's some sort of illness. And another doctor and another religious figurehead, all 4 of them, they've heard what Pastor Lund said happened, so they're ready to sit down and watch as Virginia tries to go to sleep in bed. So just picture the scene. You're an 11-year-old girl trying to go to sleep with 4 grown men just sitting in the room watching.
Yeah, that'd be awkward. Like, I always say that too with people when they do sleep studies. I'm like, that's gotta be weird. Like, there's people watching you, you're hooked up to things. I don't know.
Very strange. But a couple hours go by and nothing happens. So one of the doctors and the other religious figurehead leave. They're like, all right, dude, well, this was fun watching a little girl lay in bed.
Okay.
We're gonna go. So they left, and as Dr. Nesbitt and Pastor Lund are still there waiting to see if anything happens, they notice Virginia has fallen asleep, but her pillow starts to rotate under her head. They said it goes 45 degrees and then goes back, and she's fast asleep.
So could they see her hands, I wonder? Like,
they say her hands are under the sheets, blankets, and pillows rotating under her sleeping soundly head.
Okay.
So then she starts to moan after this pillow thing. As she's sleeping, she starts to make sounds of discomfort and like she's in pain. And Dr. Nesbitt and Pastor Lund notice from the bottom of the bed, the sheets start to ripple like waves.
What?
And so it's going like water on the beach. They're like waves coming into the beach, like rippling up to about to her chest and then dying down. And all this time she's sounding like she's in some kind of pain.
Right.
And so they stay and they watch, and then she stops moaning, and then the sheets calm down, and then the linen chest, the lid on top of the linen chest goes boom, boom, boom. She wakes up. She's like, what was that? And the doctor this is the first time the doctor's seen anything happen.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know. But he starts to think the psychoactivity like you talked about. Maybe this girl is just in so much distress. She's making this stuff happen.
Right.
And so they've seen enough. They're like, we're good. We'll be back later. Can we come back tomorrow? Can we come back another day? That'd be cool. Awesome. So the pastor and the doctor leave, and the doctor's got a plan. He's going to come back at some point and do some tests to check his theory that maybe she's unconsciously making all of this happen. So the next day at school, everyone's just kind of trying to forget about yesterday, but it's kind of exciting. Maybe we'll get to see something new happen today.
Yeah.
Maybe. They had all finished an assignment and were instructed to line up. I guess they would line up and then turn their assignments in one by one. And Virginia was last in line. And as she approached the teacher's desk, she had, it's called a pointer cane or something like that. Old school versions of laser pointers. It was like a cane the teachers would have to point at the chalkboard. Here, here. It would lay across the teacher's desk. As Virginia approaches, it starts to vibrate.
Of course.
On the desk. And then everyone hears it because it makes a very interesting clacking sound. And then it raises up and throws itself off the desk. The teacher's like, Virginia looks at the teacher. This is the most heartbreaking. And she says, "I'm not doing this." Then the desk starts to vibrate. The desk lifts up so slightly off the floor, the teacher's desk rotates 90 degrees and then sits back down. Every kid in class sees this. The teacher sees it. It's like the shared experience to the max. And it finally comes to rest. So if it was lengthwise in front of the teacher, by the time it came back down, it didn't put itself back the way it usually does. It was now like horizontal to the teacher.
Yeah, it's different. Interesting.
And Virginia's freaking out. She's like, "I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry. This isn't me." And the teacher's like, "It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just help me put the desk back." So they put the desk back, and she says, "Why don't you," she's just like, "Let's give you a little break. Why don't you go have a chat with the principal? You're not in trouble. Just tell him I sent you over to just to talk or whatever." And so Virginia's like, okay. So she leaves the classroom, and then the teacher goes to close the door, and it's like something stops her and is pulling from the other side and will not let her close it. So she thinks it's a kid playing a trick on her. She looks around, and there's nobody there. And she's like, "Come on." So she starts to pull as hard as she can, and she can't pull the door shut. And so she eventually, I guess she asked the kids to help, and a few kids came over, and together they pulled hard enough to get the door shut. But nobody, or whatever the entity was, didn't want them to close the door without Victoria in the classroom.
Wait,
so by this time, reporters are showing up. Local reporters, they're showing up at the school. They want to hear all the stories and talk to everybody who's seen stuff. And Victoria just wants to go home. And the kids are rallying around her. At one point, one of her classmates says, "Give me your coat. I'm going to pretend I'm you and just run that way." And Victoria's like, okay. So she
is her name Virginia or Victoria?
I'm sorry, Virginia.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. Did I miss something?
No. My brain's just going to the haunted man for some reason.
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry.
So Virginia's friend runs the other way, and the reporters all go follow her, and then it allows Virginia time to get home and not have to face the reporters. But that was like the first week, from what I could tell, that she was there in Saki. Things would continue. The timeline gets a little fuzzy depending on what you're reading, but eventually some stories that happened after that where the Dr. Nesbitt came back. He wanted to do an experiment where if he gave her a sedative and she was knocked out, if activity would continue. And they had been there for another one of these fun adventures where, "Go ahead and go to sleep, honey. We're going to watch you go to sleep." And there's knocking on the headboard. they would hear a lot of times scratching on the walls.
Ooh.
That didn't see, no one could tell where they came from, but it wasn't mice or rats. So one night that this is happening, the knocking's happening, they give her the sedative, so she's like out. And I'm sorry, but like as a parent, I don't know what her mom's just like, yeah, just drug my kid because she's possessed or something. Like,
I mean, it might be to the point where you're like, there's nothing else to try. You know, you get desperate and tired.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, if this could offer, you know, because I was thinking, like, to be honest, it sounds so far like it is something psychic that's happening with her. Like, that's the best thing. Like, I'm getting Matilda vibes. And so I'm like, it feels like that. So it would make sense if you're thinking along those lines, that it's something in her brain that's making this happen. Then let's shut it down. Like, to be honest, I mean, like, if it wasn't experimenting on children, which is what this is, but like, if I had free reign to do whatever I wanted, I'd be like, yeah, let's not just a sedative. I want to like general anesthesia, so it completely shuts down the brain. And let's see
that's
what
what they gave her, and it didn't stop.
Oh.
The knocking, the headboard vibrating, the scratching on the walls continued when she was knocked out. They tried prayer sessions. They brought as many religious figures over and did like an hour-long prayer session in the room with her at one point, and that didn't help. And there's a very famous, this reminds me of your story, but they at one point, and it, now my mind's getting hazy, it might have been when they gave her the sedative, they brought over an audio recorder and they recorded thumps on the walls and scratching, and it was all while she was out. And the BBC owns that, and that's become a thing where like the internet wants to hear it, because BBC says, yeah, we have that, but they haven't released it. And I think it might be part of this documentary.
Oh, that's probably why. Because as they released all the stuff that I was showed, like the interview that I was thinking about doing, but that was part of a BBC thing that they released too.
Well, he finally sold the farm, and Dad came and joined them in Saki with dog Toby and Tote. And what would you believe? The activity started to subside.
Interesting.
And it kind of just, it stopped enough to where at least it faded from people's minds. It got less attention. That now, based on a lot of the diary entries in this person's book, I need to get the book and read it, and I'm sorry I didn't before recording this episode, but he talked to several, the author of the book's aunt was in Virginia's class. I almost said Victoria again. And so was a classmate of Victoria, and that's why he's been so obsessed with the story and wanted to write the book. But he talked to a lot of her friends and people who grew up with Victoria and got stories. I don't know why, but she would host sleepovers and her friends would come and sleep over. And at one point, like, one of the friends said they were having dinner there, and at the table a fork and knife lifted up and went over and acted like it was cutting something.
What?
And the family just kind of looked at it like, oh man, come on, not again. We have company. Like, for one night, could you just stop? Like, the family just kind of seemed annoyed by it, and it stopped. And so this girl said, and at one point, one of the people, one of the evenings where the grown men were watching the girl sleep, somebody saw the impression of a body and a head lay down next to her on the bed and the pillow. And it's all like, there's just way too much to, and again, the story's been retold so many times. You're just like, show me the raw data.
It's true.
But eventually it just kind of faded away, and she moved away. And the most recent information I could find was that she's happily married. She's a 78-year-old woman at this point, and she's living somewhere out there I think she's back in Ireland, and she's got a grown son and grandkids, and she's a happy gal now. All it took was Dad and Toby returning, I suppose.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I just opened the rabbit hole for you. If you're interested, dive into the Google machine and find out everything you can about the Saki poltergeist.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm interested. I want to know more.
Well, you've got a million Reddit threads to dive into, and all kinds of like I said, I couldn't believe the wealth of stories or information about this, that once I've heard about it for the first time. There's podcasts, YouTube videos, there's a documentary coming out, and that is the story of Victoria Campbell.
What? Of who?
Virginia Campbell. Maybe I just made it all up in my head.
Maybe. Yeah, that's so interesting. I like that. I really like that story.
So it poses the question, just like yours, is just like, how much is it attached to the person, or could it be a psychokinetic thing?
Yeah, that's my bet for that one. I feel like, because it like follows her, and it's, again, in that time of turmoil, and then it just stops once that big stressor was gone.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering too, like when you were saying with the sedatives, is it the kind of sedative that just puts you to sleep, or is it like general anesthesia? Because like general anesthesia, like literally shut your brain out, and your brain looks like you're dead. I hate the idea. So I'd be interested.
One reason some people have said that's not it, the psychokinetic thing, is that on that street since then to like today, houses are doing this, knocking, scratching. There was a famous one, like the next door house started it for a while, and even up to like 10 years ago, I think there's like stories of people living on that street having this kind of stuff happen. So another big theory is that it's an energy on that street that likes to pick new people to attach itself to. And helps it manifest in certain ways. But yeah, check out the street. I mean, if you want to Park Crescent.
Yeah, Park Crescent.
Saki. It's Sauchie, Scotland. And there's a treasure trove of ghost stories on that street since 1960.
Nice. I remembered. I can't remember if I told on this show. I was like, maybe I'll have to save it like for one of my intros, because it's a good one. That I remember, but I know I told you and Craig, and like I might have said it on my other show, on my Amanda on Demand show. I'm not sure, but about the one incident that I just cannot even explain in the slightest that happened to me when I worked at school. I forgot when I said that earlier, when you're like, and I said, I just want some kind of proof. And that is, to be honest, the one thing that I'm like.
Yeah, I won't spoil it. I think I remember what you're talking about.
And it was
but I won't spoil
super creepy. That's what I said. So maybe I'll have to save it for the end story, unless somebody in here knows what I'm talking about and be like, yeah, you told us last time. But I don't think I did. But I had a very, very creepy experience at the school that I worked at, and I cannot explain it. Cannot. And I was so scared. I put stuff down from where I was going, and I just left. I was like, nope, we're done.
Yeah, definitely work that into your intro.
Yes.
For a future episode.
For sure. We'll have to think
All
about
right.
it.
Well, as everybody knows, we finish these episodes
Woo!
with a duet. And as usual, we procrastinated.
We
and
did.
procrastinated, So I sent Amanda my half of it
Yes.
very late last night, probably around midnight.
Yeah, it's true.
And so you've had a little bit of time, and I
Yeah.
always like to see what kind of magic you can make
Yeah.
after having half of a duet sent your way.
And I did. I'll tell you guys. I did do a recording today, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it live. Because I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna do what I always laugh. I say this is my hybrid video. So let me do that. So I'm gonna pull up. Let me see if I still have it open. I think, like a dummy, I closed it. Oh, okay. I hate when this flashes like that.
Now, for anybody out there who's like, why don't you just duet? I don't know if technology, well, definitely when COVID started and we were like, could we perform together on Zoom? It was not a possibility. And
No.
technology, I think, may be catching up or have
supposedly
caught up. We're just not caught up with technology yet, but
supposedly
so
Zoom has a setting, but we have tried it, I think, once. And just like let's just sing like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something together, or Happy Birthday, obviously. And it was still a mess.
no, but I think there's like a platform like OBS where musicians can do this now, where it's all just like zip zap real time.
What?
Jamming. Yeah.
Okay, then
we'll
I am
look
not caught
into
up.
it. But again, if you're like, why don't you just do it? You like the internet's not fast enough for us to be playing together. So I send Amanda my part of it, and then she's going to basically karaoke herself
With it. Yeah. If it'll work. I had it out. Like, okay, so I'm just trying to find the little pop out button on the Google Drive because I had it popped out. And now it's like, no, you can't do that. Okay, let me see. Let's see. Maybe open in a new window, maybe? No. I know. Okay. No. Okay, fine. Let me just download it. I'm just going to do that. Okay, open. No, that's not what I want. Download it.
You are a wizard.
What is it doing?
Yeah, we're off to see the wizard.
Sorry, guys. I had it ready to go, and then when I opened something else, it closed it. And now it's being difficult.
What? Okay. It's not like we don't do this every week.
I know, right? When I first started this video too, Paul, you were so still that I was like, is it frozen? And like you're just like this for like 3 or 4 seconds.
I don't know. If
I thought
it's
you were
the
frozen.
raw video, I probably am like, can I do this?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Here I am. I'm recording.
Let me see. Just make sure. Okay. There we go. And I had it up.
So I'll talk about why it's this song.
Oh, yes. Let me just check. Okay. Great.
I actually got this as a request for a request-isode. I think my most recent request-isode, I performed it solo, and I was like, oh, this is a great song. But it also, at least the title, made me think of the story of Victoria and her poltergeist.
Who is
it? Virginia and her poltergeist, who the pastor said her little boyfriend is just, trying to protect her or whatever. And if you can imagine a poltergeist attaching to somebody and saying, you're mine and I'm yours. That, I don't know, kind of made me think, this would be a cute duet if we shoehorned it into a ghost poltergeist meaning.
I love it. Okay, I'm going to put you over here, the other you. Whoop. Okay, let me look on my OBS. Also, my camera is doing this. I'm going to zoom. I'm going to unzoom thing. So if you notice, my camera many times has zoomed itself out. It's another ghost. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Okay, hopefully it'll stay for the song. All right. Let me get this playing and we will start the song. Let me get this lyrics over here. Maybe. Hold on, not that one. Over here. Not that one. Goodness gracious. How many tabs do I have open? So close. So close, you guys.
What do you have more of, tabs open or icons on your desktop?
Oh, God. Icons on my desktop. You guys saw it earlier. It's horrendous. I always tell people that if it's not on the desktop, I don't know it exists anymore. So they have to be on my desktop. And then after a while, I'm like, well, I can't start putting things in folders now. There's too many.
The task is too tall.
I don't know what to do. I need somebody. I need to hire somebody. All right, I'm going to try this. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Rock it.
Here we go. Well, you done me in your bed, I felt it. I tried to be chill, but you're so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back.
Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my bestest, and nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's again my turn to win some or learn some.
But I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours. Do 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 do
Well, open up your mind and see like me. Open up your plans and damn, you're free. Look into your heart and you'll find love, love, love.
Listen to the music of the moment, people dance and sing. We're just one big family, and it's our God-forsaken right to be love, 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 love.
So I won't hesitate no more, no more.
It cannot wait, I'm sure.
There's no need to complicate. Our time is short.
This is our fate. I'm yours. Do 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 do
I've been spending way too long checking my tongue in the mirror and bending over backwards just to try to see it clearer. My breath fogged up the glass, so I drew a new face and I laughed.
I guess what I'd be saying is there ain't no better reason to rid yourself of vanities and just go with the seasons. It's what we aim to do. Our name is our virtue.
But I won't hesitate
No more, no more.
It cannot wait.
I'm yours.
Open up your mind and see like me.
Open up your plans and damn, you're free.
Look into your heart, you'll find the sky is yours. Please don't, please don't, please don't.
There's no need to complicate,
Our
'cause our time is short.
I'm yours.
I will never stop being just in awe of how you can take the mashed potatoes I send you and
I
make
like
it
mashed potatoes.
an amazing meal. That was so, like, I don't know how you took what I gave you and made it.
I thought it was great the
live.
way you said it.
Live. You sang it live. You did it live. That's
Did it live.
so good. Great job.
Oh, thanks. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
ooh. I always
And
have fun
Kelsey
with the
said-
little like doot and doo doo doos.
Yeah. It's scat. It's
Yes.
jazz.
Yes.
That's great. I loved. Thank you, Kelsey, for requesting that on my Cove Pod request episode. And I always love, like, we find these not duets. That
I know.
totally work as duets.
Now we
sometimes.
should just like make an album now.
Duets album.
I know,
yeah.
it's great.
Like, can you imagine if some people took like tracks of dead singers and made albums of duets with them?
Oh, AI, it's coming.
I was joking. People do that all the
They
time.
do. But I mean, like,
Yeah, no, like you can make music
Yeah.
videos with Frank Sinatra these days.
oh my
It's-
God. What did I do? I did. So like, I went to ChatGTP because I said I was trying to think of a song to do for this. And I was like, hey, okay, I'm going to try this. And so I said, hey, ChatGTP, can you think of any songs that might be related to like poltergeists and ghost stories? Most of which I didn't know anyways. So it wasn't that
Sure.
helpful. But at the bottom it goes, because I should have given it more parameters, been like, here's the kind of music I listen to. Anyways, at the bottom it goes, do you want me to generate some sound effects or maybe an original song that fits this vibe? And I was like, what? Wait, what?
Want me to write you a song?
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
wait.
I'll share with you. This is totally off topic of the Magical Mystery Hour. But so we're completely at work. We're completely redoing all the downstairs wall. We have a hallway that runs the length of our building at work. It starts at the front, obviously, and then it goes in the back. And the back exit and entrance is the door that our police officers. It's the first door they come through when they're going to work.
Okay.
First door they leave when they're going out into work. And so for this last wall, we wanted to put like some sort of inspirational quote. And so there was this department-wide submit a quote you think would be great for this, and or whatever you think would be great. So I go to ChatGPT and I say, hey, give me an inspirational quote. And I gave it all this parameters, like a police officer would see the last thing before going to work, the first thing when coming back in, and it won the vote of the entire department. So ChatGPT wrote an inspirational quote that's going to be on the wall for who knows how long, that
Wow.
people are going to see coming in and leaving work. And inspirational something, like I didn't feel like I could come up with something, so I turned to AI. I'm so lazy, I turned to AI and I'm like, hey, give me something human. And they're like, do you want it like this? And you, like you said, you can make adjustments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like, would you like it more this or more that? And I'm like, can you give it to me more of that? And it's just like, yep.
I will say that
Yes.
anytime I use ChatGTP, I do try to say thank you very much.
That is something that came up. So when I found out my quote won, we were in a command staff meeting, and I said, I got to tell you guys, you can't quote me because it was ChatGPT. And they were like, "Did you say thank you?" And I was like, "What?" And then we got into this whole conversation where like when ChatGPT does you a solid, you got to say thank you, otherwise Terminator's coming.
It's true.
And I was like, "Oh my god." So I ran back to my office. I was like, "Hey, the other day you gave me a quote, and I just want you to know I appreciate it so much."
By the way, you won.
And it's like, "I know, Paul.
I was there.
I was listening." It's like, oh no. We should do a magical mystery hour on AI.
Okay. No, we should have AI generate a script, write an original song.
You know
Have
what
the
we
AI
should do?
show.
We should upload an episode of this and ask ChatGPT to write us an episode of Magical Mystery Hour using Paul and Amanda's personalities.
Oh my god.
And then we'll read the script as a live show.
The AI show. Oh my god.
Oh, that's too creepy. I don't know. That might be too creepy.
It might be. I mean, it would be a magical mystery in itself.
Yeah, the mystery of AI.
I did also see a good comedy sketch video, and it was a girl, and she did something with ChatGPT and said thank you, and okay, and then it says like flash to however many years later, and the robots are taking over. And she's running, like, and then she trips and falls, and she's like, no. And they go, wait, she said thank you. It's like, you shall be spared. And she's like, oh, and it goes, you shall be sent to the human labor camp. She's like, no.
Wow.
I know. It was like dark turn there.
All right, everyone, check this out. Can you please write me a podcast episode in the style?
Oh my god, is it going to know what we are? If you say the style of Magical Mystery
Hour.
Oh no.
With Amanda Benjamin and Paul Carganilla.
Oh my god, I'm so scared.
Do I have your blessing to use your name?
Oh my god, now I'm scared, I guess. ChatGPT knows who I am. And it already does.
About unicorn sightings.
Okay.
Here we go. Boom.
Okay.
It's thinking.
That's gonna be long because it's like these shows are long, man.
It's all, dude. These shows are 3.5 hours long.
I have to what?
You gotta teach these humans something.
Let me teach you about the art of condensing.
Audience retention and the importance of keeping it short.
Oh man.
Oh,
does it say it can't look us up because of?
We'll have to just. I got rerouted to something called Chatbot. This is not what I usually use.
Oh, okay. Maybe because it's a lot of information.
I don't want to waste anybody's time. We'll do this.
Okay.
And it's gonna. I don't know. People are kind of into it though in the chat. So
they are. Oh my god. Oh my god, they are.
All right, let's try this one more time. Since it seems like people are here for it, and we're not wasting people's time. Of course, if you need to go to bed, go to bed.
Yeah. We're.
Oh, that's what I did wrong.
Okay. Also, it's scary how
the first thing that popped up instead of actually going to where I know and love.
Oh, okay. I'm also scared about like how fast it does it.
It's
What?
Yeah.
Man.
It's almost like it's a miracle of technology.
I mean, like it is terrifying. It really is. But it's also such an incredible tool. And it can really help us a lot in many, many ways. And it's one of those things that like, if I could trust humanity, it could be incredible.
Yeah.
It's humanity that I
But
don't
if they don't say thank you.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. You gotta say thank you. You gotta treat it right. Because I mean, like, honestly, it's intelligent. It's learning. And I don't know where it goes. So we should be good to it. If anybody's a Battlestar Galactica person, you know how it goes. Oh no, is it good or bad?
I'm just shocked. Sure. Here's a podcast script for Magical Mystery Hour, styled like Amanda Benjamin and Paul Carganilla's dynamic, conversational, warm, slightly spooky, yet whimsical, filled with wonder, music, and audience engagement.
Oh my God, wait. I really like the description of our podcast right now.
The theme of this episode, unicorn sightings.
Okay.
How do I share this with you so you can read it with
I
me?
don't know. I don't know.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
you can share your screen, I guess, or...
Okay, and then we have to read it. This is crazy.
Oh my God. Or yeah, I'm trying to think.
Tough.
Like, unless you want to, like, can you copy and paste the whole thing into a document?
Oh, yeah, let's try that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a late night ChatGPT Magical Mystery Hour about unicorn sightings.
Oh my God.
Here we go. I'm going to put it in a Google Doc and share it
Okay.
with you.
Oh my God.
It's not actually that long. So
Okay, that's good. It didn't do a full episode.
AI is
but-
not that smart. Like, they didn't realize that our episodes are 3.5 hours long.
Yes. Okay.
Paste.
See, darn camera.
It says it's a script with Amanda Paul, segment 1, music 1.
I'm
Oh my-
I'm
this is
just so
crazy.
impressed about how impressed AI is with us. I'm like,
Yeah.
AI thinks I'm special right now. Okay. Thank you. Can
The
I put that on
description of
like
our
my?
show is wonderful.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can I put that on a resume somewhere and be like, I run the dynamic conversational podcast?
I think I told you, like, I use ChatGPT to write my own. At work, we have to have do self-evaluations at the end of every year, and I'm like, I don't like doing that, so AI does it for me. It's great.
I see. That's the kind of thing that I think it's great for. Saving us the time and okay. Oh my God! It says my voice in a soft, enchanting tone.
Soft enchanting tone. It's
And
true.
Paul says playful and dramatic.
So ChatGPT describes Amanda as soft and enchanting, and I'm playful and dramatic.
Yes.
All right, so it says episode title: "The Last of the Unicorns."
Okay. So
Here
there's
we go.
opening music is whimsical and mysterious. And so,
Yes.
welcome, curious souls and twilight wanderers, to another episode of The Magical Mystery Hour. I'm Amanda Benjamin.
And I'm Paul Carganilla, your co-pilot through the fog of the unexplained, the unseen, and the absolutely magical.
Tonight, we saddle up for a journey into one of the most enduring legends ever whispered under starlight, the unicorn.
Yes, the unicorn. The horned guardian of forest secrets. The horse with a halo of moonlight. Real? Imagined? Sighted? Recently?
You might want to believe these creatures are tucked away in fairy tales, but tonight we'll share sightings, real accounts of unicorns, from misty woods in Scotland to quiet hills in Vermont.
And one very odd 911 call from a man in Nevada who was absolutely certain a unicorn stole his sandwich.
He sounds very convincing and very hungry.
Segment music: harp, soft shimmering bells. Segment 1: a forest in fog.
Our first story comes from a hiker named Isla, deep in the Caledonian forest of Scotland. She was alone near Glen Affric. Is that what this is? Affric. And when the fog rolled in thick, here's what she wrote to us.
The forest went silent. No birds, no wind. Just this pale shimmer ahead of me, like moonlight underwater. I thought it was a trick of the fog until it moved. It had hooves, but they didn't make a sound. And on its head, a single horn, thin as glass. It looked at me. I swear it looked at me. Then it disappeared into the trees.
There's something beautiful in that. Something deeply old. Unicorns were once thought to be protectors of the pure and the peaceful.
Or maybe just excellent at avoiding humans.
Smart unicorns.
Sound effect: phone ring, voicemail beep, Segment 2, Voices from the Void Line. We asked you, our listeners, to share your unicorn encounters. And tonight, we've got a voicemail from Auntie Ray in Sonoma. Voicemail, gentle, older voice.
You want to do this one or you want me to do it?
It's Auntie Ray.
All right.
I'll do it if you
I'm not good at old people voices. But back in the 70s, I was riding horses with my sister near Petaluma. We stopped by this old apple orchard. She swore something white was watching us. Later, she sketched what she saw. I kept drawing. I still have it. It's a unicorn, plain as day. Can we talk about how much I love that she still has this drawing?
Right? Auntie Ray, if you're listening, please email us a photo of that sketch. We need to see that. Music interlude. Dreamy piano. Soft echo of wind chimes. Segment 3. Myth, memory, and maybe.
There's this idea in old folklore studies that mythical creatures aren't just invented, but remembered. Echoes of something real.
Maybe unicorns were never creatures of biology, but of spirit. Guardians of nature, symbols of healing. The horn, a conduit between the world we know and the one just beyond the veil.
Or maybe they're just really good at social distancing.
Respect. Final segment. The unicorn in the mirror.
Before we close, I want to leave you with a thought. The unicorn, more than anything, is a symbol of wonder. And maybe the question isn't, do they exist? Maybe it's, do you still believe they could?
Because if you do, maybe one day, when the fog rolls in and the woods go silent, you'll see a shimmer.
And maybe, just maybe, it'll look back.
That is our journey for tonight, friends. If you've seen something strange, magical, or mysterious, send us your story at magicalmysteryhour@podcastrealm.com.
Follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes photos and musical moments. And don't forget to leave a review if tonight stirred your soul.
Until next time,
Stay curious, stay kind, and keep looking up.
I don't know what just happened.
Okay, but like, okay, this part totally caught me when it did the, before we close, I want to leave you with a thought. Like that whole little segment, I was like, whoa, maybe. And then said maybe. Just maybe. I was
like, that's
oh!
what Amanda says. That's what she says. Oh, that's scary. And
Oh,
David
man.
saying how they tied in Petaluma.
I know. I was like, Petaluma.
Oh my god.
It definitely got a lot of things that I would say. Some of them.
And it sound like it wrote it in our voices.
Yeah.
So in the time that I asked it to do that, it had to go check out some of our episodes, get the format down.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't really understand musical transition.
Mm-mm.
Like if it was trying to do it like we do in our show, it didn't understand that part of it, which is part of what like AI, what it still needs to catch up on is like understanding can you believe that? Understanding the human element of things.
Yeah.
But like the way as quickly as it got the format of our show and could write in our own voices is very, very scary.
Wow. again, if we can do this right, it's scary, but it's exciting and cool and useful. But I'm scared. I'm very scared.
I have to say though, like my brain, and I'm sure I'm not the first person. Like I'm sure lots of people have started to be able to sense, oh, this is AI wrote this.
Oh yeah,
like because it has an algorithm and it has a formula, and sometimes when people are reading something or you're reading a social media post, you're like, oh, this was AI, and I hate to say it, and it makes me so sad, but like. Some of the scripts that the kids get for auditions, I'm just like, this wasn't written by a human. Like,
really?
It's so like,
Not even like, so the thing is, I mean, I get it if it's just an audition and you don't want it to be your script. Like, okay, I could see why you would be like, can you just write this so we have something for them to read? Again, if it's not the script you're using, you know, because you don't want the script out there. But at least go through and edit it. So, you know?
yeah.
Because, I mean, to be honest, like, that was a cool script that I could see rewriting to actually be, you know, that's, okay, here's my base.
Right.
Like, let's do a story of a call-in, and let's do a story about, you know. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Crazy.
But thanks, AI. That was
And
actually
thanks to everybody
fun.
for hanging with us. So many people are like, that was awesome. Let's do it again, please.
Let's do it again.
Let's do an episode. But yeah, wow, that's crazy.
I know. Okay.
Well,
with that, I mean, what we should do is have AI write us a nice outro.
so we have something to say. Okay.
I did pull it. Okay. I was gonna say, because I pulled up one of our old ones, but we can have AI write it for us.
While we're here.
Why not? What do we usually, I mean, like, we could tell it, or no, it could figure it out. I was gonna say, we could tell it what we usually say, or we could see if it knows what we usually say.
But yeah, so let's say, write us. Please, I gotta start with please.
Yes, please. And
Please.
again, I'm saying it on the show. Thank you, AI.
We would appreciate it.
It's
if
amazing
you
to see your growth.
Write us an outro for the Magical Mystery Hour podcast with Amanda Benjamin and Paul Carganilla that thanks people for listening and
Wraps up.
encourages them. I'm sure it can tell when I make a typo, but I'm still correcting it.
I know. I do the same. I'm like,
Yeah.
me too. I'm like, I don't want to look stupid in front of the computer. It knows everything.
Share and rate the show and keep life magical and mysterious.
Yes. All right.
Here we go.
Okay. Let's see if
I'll
it's
add it
better
to
than
that
what we always
document.
would do.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
Probably. You can tack that on, I guess, to the end of the document.
Yeah. Okay, so it says, absolutely. Here's a warm and whimsical outro you can use for the Magical Mystery Hour podcast with Amanda Benjamin and Paul Carganilla.
Wow.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Do you have the music?
Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me see where I have it. But yes. Here, I'll just pull it up. Over here somewhere.
Oh, I have to say thank you. Thank you, Emily. Emily says, don't forget to say thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
You can tell that people really enjoyed our reading of your script.
If you ever need more podcast magic, intros, episode titles, or anything else, I'm here to help. Break a leg out there in the mystery.
Oh, wow.
You're not a human. You don't understand what you just said.
Okay. Where?
But thank you. I appreciate you. If you're
Oh, here
listening.
it is. Okay. I've got the music. Or it should be here, so I'm going to start playing it. Did you add it onto the document?
I did.
Okay. Let's see if it starts playing.
I also, let me just say, it also says, let me know if you'd like an alternate segment, a guest interview section, or original music lyrics. In parentheses, Amanda often sings.
Paul sings too.
I don't think AI would call what I was singing.
It's like, no.
Well, I mean, it obviously doesn't. But okay, go ahead.
Anyways, all right. So here's our music. And that brings us to the end of another magical mystery hour.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the strange, the stirring, and the spectacular.
If you enjoyed the ride, please share the magic. Tell a friend, leave us a rating, or write a quick review. It helps more curious souls find their way to our little corner of the universe.
And remember, mystery is everywhere if you're willing to look for it. Keep your hearts open and your eyes wide.
And stay magical.
Stay mysterious.
And we'll see you next time on the Magical Mystery Hour. All right. Well, that was awesome. I would say goodnight to everybody for reals, but I am going to use that as our goodnight to you all. So, good night, everybody. We will see you next time.